بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
So for us to have the correct intention is extremely important. I must learn for me to put into practice. I'm worried about myself. I'm worried about my Jannah, and at the same time, once I've learned and I've put into practice, I will then pass the message on, not so that I can prove myself to be a better person than everyone else or more knowledgeable, but because I'm genuinely concerned for the rest of humanity and the rest of mankind, in order that they may too achieve Jannah, or they may achieve Jannah too. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us all Jannah. So the seeds of guidance, importance for us, is very important for us to speak about it, but more important is for us to understand it and put it into practice. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us. Secondly, guidance is achieved obviously by the gift of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He uses various ways to tap us. Sometimes a person achieves guidance whilst they have a lot of goodness in their life. They have not yet tasted difficulty or calamity. They turn to Allah, and that is the best of people. Those who have turned to Allah at times of ease. And then you will find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be with you, and He will definitely assist you at times of difficulty. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us. But some people, through the blessing of Allah, the gift of Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides them because, or should I say, through a sickness that they have been afflicted with, through a difficulty they have got, through financial loss, through the death of a loved one, through some form of issue that they are going through that is negative, the pressure of society, the various friends that they may have that might be harming them, or they may find that if those friends are harmed and they don't understand what's going on and they are worried about themselves, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses them through this, because if that brings one closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is indeed a gift of Allah. And we've always said, and we will continue to say, that sometimes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes us sick and ill in order for us to return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a beautiful way. Sometimes you have medication, and that medication does not help, and we will visit a doctor after a doctor, and it does not help. And what happens? If such a person was not close to Allah, and Allah loved the person enough to want them to turn to Him, then they understand and realize at that juncture that, you know what? I have a Lord, He is the owner of cure. And then they say, Allahumma shfini, oh Allah, grant me cure. And by doing that, they actually turn to Allah for the first time in their lives. And if that's the case, wasn't it a gift? Wasn't it a gift of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? But at the same time, sickness can be a test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because with us who believe, we understand that whenever we have sickness or negativity, it should draw us closer to Allah. Sometimes shaitan seizes the opportunity and draws people away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is why when people have sickness and they are calling out to Allah, and Allah prolongs that sickness, maybe because Allah loves the way we worship Allah when we are sick and ill. We are much more sincere, we are genuine, we cry out to Allah in such a beautiful way that He loves it so much that He wants to keep us in that condition for our own elevation. Yet we become fed up after a while, and we become sick of it, and we begin to resort to means of cure that are not prescribed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, let alone not being prescribed, but that are prohibited. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala safeguard us. May Allah make us from amongst those who appreciate His gifts upon us. The fact that we are sitting here and breathing today is a gift of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the house, one of the houses from amongst the houses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And for us to be here, surely there must be something that Allah loves about us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala love us even more. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from amongst those who love Him genuinely and not just by mouth.